Hello, everybody. Kathy and Katia. I can remember that you're watching me, so I'll keep trying to keep smiling and not make faces while we're waiting these couple minutes. Excuse me, I'm just getting finished up here. I've been trying some things today. I've been watching a lot of videos, and I thought we were going to do today would work nice for tanning, but I'm not sure it's going to. I'll show it to you anyway, but I don't know if it's going to help. I'm in a different chair. I guess I've got to. Um, what I was thinking about doing now is tracing, showing you how to take a photograph and make it into a tracing, but they don't come out, I don't believe, in a way that we can really use them. But the one thing we can do is hand draw if we want to do, like, I've got some butterfly pictures that I was working with to try and see if they would work. So we'll see if those will work once everybody gets here. Guess that keeps the light a little better here. How's everybody's week's gone? I hope it's gone well. If you had any time for tatting or designing? I suppose I could tell you what I've been doing this week. Not much with tatting, although I have been getting my threads more organized and all the paperwork and things I have. I have a lot to go yet. Hi, Janella. You did tatting and cutting and tatting and cutting. That is that is what designing is all about. Of course, even sometimes my tatting is about that too. Sometimes my mind is off thinking about things and I'm not paying attention and cut out errors. I'll make mistakes, get stitches, you know, that aren't completed. And but experimenting is all of uh, part of designing, and that involves a lot of uh, cutting. Just don't throw your snippets away. Keep them because they might work great for something else. You never know. And if you keep good notes on them, if you're using the index card system, um, you can possibly want to know later what that piece is, how many stitches, the size of thread, and that kind of thing. You think of something a cat and was not happy with it. Yeah, I know that feeling. I think all designers do. Oh, you did pearl tatting without beads. Yeah, I like pearl tatting, and you really, I think it's great if you can put in a row of pearl tatting, even in a doily. But then you have to add in that 3rd thread. It really is just, another end to work in. Well, 2, the beginning and the end of the thread. But you can get some really fun picot, looks out of, with the pearl tatting. It's kinda weird sitting here at night when it's like, um, I don't quite know what to talk about until we get started. Hi, Sharon. I still wonder sometimes if this class should be, start a half hour later. Anybody have a yes or a no about that? Because it does seem that right at 6, people have a little trouble getting here. Although it's only 2 minutes for my clock, my computer clock, it's only 2 minutes after, and we've already got how many of you? 1, 2, 3, 4. And as far as the replays go, I haven't been getting them up. I've actually gotten behind in getting them up, and it's not that it's that hard. I'm just like right after class, I'm usually so tired that I don't do it, and then sometimes I just forget about it. It's 8 for you, so I'd kind of put you starting at 8:30 your time, puts it kind of late. Oh, late. Oh, I am too. I don't know how often I go to bed between, 1 and 2, and it's so hard getting up in the morning if I have something happen earlier. It even seems like on days being in mountain time when the afternoon class starts, it's only noon here. Sometimes I feel like I've hardly had my coffee. You wouldn't mind it later either? I had just thought that maybe it would be keeping the classes at the, same time as the online classes that Tammy does, um, would keep it more consistent for people, but I'm tempted to even make the afternoon class at least a half hour later, so I have time to eat my lunch before, or at least a good breakfast. Oh, night owl too. I think a lot of creative people are night owls. I know my brother called me at he actually called me at 2:30 in the morning the night before last, and I was still awake. I'd gone to bed. I'd been in bed for about 45 minutes, but I couldn't fall asleep. And he's a night owl too. And he said, I really felt like talking to somebody. He lives in Texas, and a storm had there, all the power went off. And so he said, I felt like talking to somebody instead of sitting here in the dark. And he said, you're the only person I could think of that would be up at that time. And I was still awake. So 8:04 now, 8:04. I've got 6:05. So, all right, let's get started. I'll show you tonight the what tracing a bitmap is about because I've, said we'd look at it, but there may be a way you'll find to use it well. And there is one thing I can think of that we'll try tonight too with that. First of all, though, I want to show you what I did on putting a pattern on a path. So let me go get my Inkscape up and open my last session. Yep, I did it an hour later, the afternoon class. And I may think that. Hi, Pasha. Oh, Okay, so I'm going to get my Inkscape up and switch my screen. Let me do that. This is what I did using pattern on a path. Thanks, Katia. And what I did is I started out, the first thing I made a pattern on a path on the inside here, and it's like they're really too light, and I'm not sure if I can change them. Um, it's just these clovers that are around. Um, they did go in place well, and I used, I think, a marker on a path, and I'll show you how that works. The markers that we used for our arrows that we drew last week, um, we can use those to put patterns along a path. I'm wondering if I kept one. No, I thought maybe I kept another one on the outside of this, but I didn't. So what I'm going to do is go to my layers. Let me see, I want to make sure, I want to lock my grid for now because I want to move what I did. Actually, you know what? I won't move it off. I'll just keep using this same one. But what I'm going to do for this next round, um, I'm going to just give us a new layer to work on. And I'll put this, what would this be? I probably would have 1, 2, 3. I'm going to call it my fourth round. And I want it to go above the current. If I wanted it to go below, I'd put below the current. And actually, I'm on the grid and I want it to be at the top of round one. But let me see if I can, no, I can't. I can, so it'll go above and it's right here, round 4. And what I want to do, just for keeping it for my reference, is move this up to the top. So previous rounds are always below is the way I like to work. So I'm on round 4. I'm going to take my round. No, I'm not going to lock my round 1. I'm just going to work on round 4. So the first thing I did was I made the myself my 3 clovers. And looks like they're not as close as they could be. But what I'm going to do now is for this round, I'm going to make a duplicate of this, just copy it and paste it. Tell me what I just did. Let's see if I can get them separated. Yeah. Am I not on the right round? I'm on round 1 and I wanted to take just this. There we go. It's kind of jumping. Let me try copying it again. And what I want to do is unselect it to paste. So I get one over here. And this one I'm going to change a little. Thinking about my next round, I'm thinking maybe I don't want, well, I've got these small ones over here too. Maybe I'll use those for my next round. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to put them together. I do seem to have, I know there's going to be, this would be the center of the doily, the round robin doily. And I'm just thinking, what could I go around it? And I'm kind of thinking of the fact that there were three together. They weren't actually done like clovers, but clovers are one of the choices I think that um, to put on off the selection sheet from the cards. I'm not on down screen. I'm not on screen. Are you seeing? Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. All right, here we go. Now can you see me? Oh, I can see the chat. I just wasn't looking at it. I bet I was making faces the whole time I was working too. Okay, here's what I made. Start over. Here's what I made, the row I made this week using pattern on a path. I also had done this inner one too. That one I did using markers on the path. So what we're going to do, I'm going to show you just the pattern on a path first. And for that, we need to make our pattern. What I made for a pattern was just, I started out just with this one, and then I duplicated it, copied it, and rotated. So I'm going to do a pattern on this next round. I think what I'll do is come out of here. I'm going to have to, out of this round at the top, but I'm going to end. Think about going to the next round. My ending is of the row is going to be right there. Or I could call it right here, over here. I haven't filled anything in there yet. I don't know what I'm going to put in there. I could have put these, and I even could now, I, I think stretch them. We're going to play around tonight, you know, like that. So they went right to the edge. And notice, because I'm using a pattern, it stretched all of them. Let me back out a little. I'm going to get that out of there so you can see more. Okay, see how when I stretched it, now I actually have a full row, and I think I'll leave it at that. It means the things are going to be different sizes, and I haven't put any chains. These aren't hooked on because I don't have a row below it, but I really liked this pattern after I made it. All right, now you can see me. Good. All right. So this row, I'm going to ungroup these because that's the duplicate I made, so I can ungroup it and decide what I'm going to do here. Maybe I'll leave those two together. Maybe I'll just take this big one out. And I think maybe because I'm going to have, this is going to be a ring with a thrown off ring on the top. And I will come back. Let's see, how am I going to do this? There. I think this will be one round. I'll do a clover, and then I don't know if what I'll do in there. Maybe a chain facing down, I think. And then what I'm thinking is this will be a regular ring with a thrown off ring on top. But if that's the case, I would end up down here again, which would mean I'm going to have to come up maybe my start will be right here so that I finish right there. And then I can come up, just maybe make a chain up. Let's see. I'm trying to think of, this is where it's like, oh, how did I want to do that? And I just took off the fill. One of the easy ways to get your stroke is you can set your stroke from down here. And I don't think if I right click, or yeah, if I right click on it, I could pick my points here um, and set down here. But notice the minute I clicked on there, it brought up my stroke palette over here. So I need to go to my stroke paint and say, give me a stroke. There we go. Now I'll have to think about this a bit, I believe, because maybe you know what, instead, I think I'll just come up. So you're going to kind of see how I would work and figure out my next row. What I think is, if I end right here, maybe I'll come out. I don't want to make this is going to look like, you know, one ring on top of the other. And I think I want it to be a little bit bigger. So I'm going to keep it in proportion, hold down both my shift key and my straighten it up. And now, let's see. So these are going to be different but similar. And what I'll probably do is put the picots on this one differently. And I didn't do that on the pattern. I could have done it on my pattern piece. Right now I'm making a new pattern piece, and it's going to consist of this ring, and then where I'm going to go next, you know, if I come out of up here, this isn't straight still, but oops, I need my pen. Come up here, and I'm thinking I might want to mimic this chain below here and get kind of a mimic repetition of some chains that look alike. But maybe right here, I don't know if I'll come down all the way, but I'm going to do it for now. Okay, so now I have my ring and my chain. I may just put some picots on here with my pen tool. Come on, end, hit enter to end. I'm going to have a crooked one for demonstration. Okay, maybe I'll put one more in. There we go. And now maybe I'm going to take these small ones and put them, I could make 3. Maybe I'll do that. Okay, and so I've got that one. Pull this one down. Whoops. And then maybe I know that I may want to maybe on the next row, I might come out I might leave a big picot right there. See, I just kind of plan to do this as I go. Okay. Now I'm going to I'm thinking I'm going to maybe do a I'll get these in a row. I'm going to make a row of split rings. I don't know how it'll look on there. Maybe I won't like it after I get done. I'm going to make one more. Surprisingly, they fit. I'm not going to line them all up by, well, there. That's good enough for me. And for right now, just to show you how to do this, I'm going to leave it at that. So what I'm going to do is select everything that I've made. That's an extra something there. So I'm going to select, whoops, I didn't lock my grid down, did I? Well, my grid is locked, but looks like it's right there. Okay. I think I've got everything but the big one. Okay, now I am going to group these. Oh, I moved them, didn't I? Come on, ungroup. Oh no, it's my polar grid. That's right, that moved, wasn't it? My polar grid's not in place. And I've got it locked. Hold on a second here. There we go. My polar grid is back in place now. All right, so I'm going to get all of these, and I've got them grouped, and this is going to be my pattern. I'm actually going to take it up here. Now I have to create a path for it to go on. I wasn't able to put it on the grid, so I'm going to have to make myself a path. So I'm going to start at the center and drag out the size I want it. And I'm holding down both Shift and Control so that my circle draws out from the center. I guess I want it to go right there. Okay, so that's going to be my path. I've got to turn it into, while it's still selected, I'm going to make it a path. Change it from an object to a path, up here at path. Right there, path, object to path. I could use stroke to path. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to make this into a marker. No, first I'm going to show you just a regular path. Okay, so I'm going to go to path and get up my path, which I have right here. And now I'm going to look for pattern along path. I believe I still had my path selected. Maybe I didn't. Hold on a second. I'm going to copy that to the clipboard first. Now I'm going to make sure that my path is selected. This should be my path that I just made. Yep. Okay. And so this is my pattern. So I'm going to select both of them. And I'm going to go to my path and go to, oops, I just closed my path. I believe that if you hold Shift Control, you need to hold Control, and then I think because we're going to need the addition sign, we'll have to shift to get it on the 4 key. Did that bring it up? Didn't bring it up, but it should. Okay, let me go down to Path Effects. It says Control plus hold down Control plus the little and symbol. And I didn't get what I wanted, so there we go. Click on my plus sign. I know my path is selected. Oops, maybe it wasn't. There's my plus sign. Pattern along path. Now, if I want, I'm going to go by, oh, you know what I didn't do? I know what I didn't do. Let me put it back in place here. I didn't copy it. Well, actually duplicate. Alt D for duplicate it. Then I'm going to flip it on the horizontal axis and move it over here. I've got an extra. I forgot when I flip it, I don't, oh, I do want the ring to go there. No, I'm coming out with, well, I want that to be one ring, so I should have put it over the other ring. These are kind of things that are so easy to do. So I'm going to have this center ring on the bottom here is right here is going to be one ring over the top of another. And actually it looks like my angle isn't going to be right, but maybe I'm going to want these two to, they're kind of slanted down. Maybe what I'm going to want to do is make them so they're both joining to a picot off of this ring. But now what I'm going to do is select both of them. And I'm going to select my path. And I'm going to now try my pattern on a path. Maybe I just need my path selected. I don't know how many times I made that whole row down here and everything worked out. I'm going to group them together. Pattern along a path. I guess I do need to copy those to the clipboard because did I do this last week? And look what I got. This is what can happen sometimes. I got the weirdest mess. And now my program is going to shut down because it didn't like what I did. No, it didn't shut down. Now it's going to shut down. Crap. No, 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 I don't want you to do this. I think I'm going to show you how to do it as a marker instead of a pattern along the path. And I don't know if I can get out of this. Let's try. I'm going to end my program since it won't end by itself. Now we'll open it back up again. I know Inkscape had it here. I lost it. So you know what? I'm just going to repeat this pattern right here. But I'm just going to make it bigger. Oh, hello. I'm just going to use this for my pattern. This is my rotation point. Remember the rotation point? It was way down there. I'm going to put it in the middle of the circle. It's crooked, but it's going to be my path. And I believe, let's see, I think I'm getting all confused myself with this. Let's see if I get what I want. Who knows what I'm going to get? I hope tonight's not a wash for us because this is crazy. I could go back with this and just do it as I could just duplicate it, click it a second time. And sometimes I think I have myself that this is, whoops, I forgot to change my rotation point. So all I've done this is duplicate it And I'm going to, with my space bar, stamp it around my path. This, to me, the more I work with some of these patterns on a path and things like that, the more that I think that doing something like this, but that is just as easy, and it's not going straight along my path, but because I moved it. Um, so this is how I plan my next row. But now I think what I'm going to do is if I ungroup it, whoops, I didn't mean to do that either. I'm sorry, some of these classes are just not going to always turn out the way I'm hoping for. Oh, look what I got here. I'm going to get this written down in a step by step because I think I'm just doing a piece of it wrong. Let me show you the other thing about I can make this one, and I think what I might have done with this, if I have this one piece selected, this one right here, and I make it into, if I copy it, I'm going to go down here below, and I'm going to get myself a circle just so I can guide it. And I'm going to change it to a path so I get nodes on it. And object path. Now I've got 4 nodes. I am going to add 2 more nodes. I'm going to add a node between here and here. No, I'm just going to, all right. I've got this would divide it into quadrants. I don't want quadrants. Quadrants. Drants. Maybe it was a night I should have just turned on the TV and watched TV. Um, and I may have to go over this again. I'm just going to add some nodes in where I think that they would go to give myself 6. And then I'm going to delete that one right there. And I'm going to add another one right here and right here. I'll have to even these out a little and take away that one. Oh, I want to show you something about guidelines since I'm bringing down a guideline. I just kinked my circle. You know what it is? I had moved my hand over the top of my, I'm working on a laptop and my touchpad, the heel of my hand was hitting the touchpad and doing those weird things. So here's my circle. I'm going to bring myself down just a guideline. Now I'm going to get rid of the fill and get my stroke paint on there. This is my guideline. And now I have 6 quadrants. And I'm going to show you, if I wanted to get these, just to hand make myself um, a 6 wedge pie here, I would be able to, rather than make a polar grid, use these guidelines. What you can do is when you click on a guideline and it's red, if you double click on it, you get a guideline dialog box. And what you can do is move this guideline to 60 degrees. I know that, 3 into the 180 half to get my guideline across my X part of my guideline across there, it has to be 60 degrees. So right here where it says angle, if I put in 60 degrees, right now when you pull out, you pull down a guideline or off the side, you're getting horizontal and vertical lines. But if I put 60 in here, and I say duplicate or okay, I'm going to say okay, and my line didn't change. Let me get, got it set on 60 degrees. It's not changing. See, I don't think there's anything I need there because we're using degrees. It should be turning this. Maybe, okay, one other thing. You can pull guidelines out of the very corner. Now you have to be real careful. You have to be right by the corner and not on the lock that's up there. I can pull down diagonal lines. But these now are going to be as you can see, they're at a 45-degree angle. So let's see, if I double click on this one, I'm going to change this, take that out and put 60 in. I know I was putting the 60 on the right side of the decimal point. I need to put 60 on the left side of the decimal point. Now I have this one I need to keep. This one I need to take. So there I have one of it. I can actually double click on this one, and this one I'm going to do 120 degrees. Oh, I was supposed to make a duplicate of it. But I said just a duplicate. Let's try this. I'm supposed to be getting one just the opposite of the one I had. Let me try 60. There we go. I used 60. So I don't think I'm at the center of my circle anymore, am I? I guess I am. I think my circle's a little wonky. So that's how you can use your guidelines to actually just give yourself some guides without making a polar grid. Okay, any comments or questions or anything on this mess I'm doing? What I'm going to do this time is show you how to use your pattern as a marker. And so what I'm going to do is go back and get one of my good patterns. And I'm going to turn it so that it is right straight up and down. And it looks like it'll fit. Let me move this one guy out of the way. how many of those I have to move out of the way. Okay. So let me fit this where it fits right in between. Here. I'm going to make this circle. Okay, I have this grouped. This is going to be, I'm going to make this into my own marker. So now that I've got it selected, I'm going to go to objects to marker right here under the object thing. Now it looks like it disappeared, but that's because it's just a marker. So what I need to do on my circle, remember I have my 6 nodes. And now if I go to the fill and stroke menu, not the paint, remember how we used the markers to make our arrows heads? Well, we can also use the pattern as that we just made into a marker, and I'll put one at the beginning of the circle, and you can't see it up here, but if I click on that, you'll see, oh, it's really big. I don't know why it's so big, but it made it into a marker. And it would, and why it's so big, I don't know. Nothing is working tonight, guys. I don't know what to say, except that I could do a better job next week. Because that was how I made these. I made them into a marker, and every place there was a node, it added it as a marker. And it added, I put a node, I have my node tool. Every one was on a marker. And next week, I'm going to do this over. I guess I haven't practiced enough. You did learn how to change the angles on your thing. Oh my gosh. Um, Let me show you the one other thing that is interesting, but I don't think it's going to work for tatting. I'm just going to open up a new file. And there are 2 websites that I know that are good, or 3 actually, and I think I have them up, where you can get this site, you can actually get vector art. So if, and notice some of them say, these say free. When I put in, this is called Vecteezy, V-E-C-T, Vect, EEZY.com. And I just in their search bar put in free butterflies. And these are all free. They're royalty free. Now, a lot of them do ask you to attribute them to the designer that made them. So if you don't change them a lot, you should tell the name of the person who. Oh, now this one on Vecteezy says no attribution required. So we can use this as a template for a design. All I have to do, it says pro download. I don't know. Yeah, I'd have to yearly $9 a month. Let me find one of the other ones. That's why it doesn't have to be attributed, because it's not one of the free ones. Let me see if this is another one. It's Pexels, Pexels.com. Now this one, I picked that butterfly, but I'm going to go back. This is a free download. Now, that one's not going to be, this one we could turn into a bitmap. This is an image, like a photograph, if you have your own photograph. And I've downloaded one, and let me show you what it does. And the other one, you can find free ones that are not, that are in, let's just put free butterflies. No, I don't. Got vector. Vectors are your images that come in with nodes, remember? It says there are no free butterflies. Nothing is working. Free butterflies. Oh, here we go. I didn't look down far enough. They are down here. Yeah, this one says free, but I'm gonna have to purchase that too. I'm gonna have to do it. This is just not working at all tonight. Another one I've used is Shutterstock. I use that a lot. Free images, you're gonna get a bunch of them. But what I'm gonna just do is pull in an image that I already downloaded for free. I'm going to import the image. Oops. Now these are huge. Doesn't look like I have any paper. It's because it's down there. So I'm going to hold Control and Shift so I can resize it way down. This is what I thought would work for tatting, but I've decided that maybe not, because we'd have to work at it a little. So I've got it selected. And what I'm going to do now is do path trace bitmap. A bitmap image is your photographs. They're not vectors with nodes. They're images. And they're bitmap images or JPEGs or PNGs sometimes. All your photos that you take are JPEGs. And those don't have nodes in them at all. So we have to trace the bitmap. And you get up this dialog box or panel, and this down here is a preview of what you'll get. It's kind of small for you to see, but there's the butterfly, and you're getting all the leaves and everything, which we don't need. And that's why I'm thinking, and they're just too much. Not clear lines. We'd have to trace it. probably. Tracing it, putting it on a layer, lowering the opacity, and tracing over it with your pen tool could give you some easy shapes for a butterfly. And like this, if you traced around here, and then maybe these could all be rings that go small up to large, not following all the individual things, but kind of using this as a shape. Now here's a big one ring facing downwards, but you look for your shapes. This is almost like a triangle, and you can just use your pen tool then. I would normally put this on another layer to draw if you don't want to sketch your own. You can use these, and if I made the opacity of this layer smaller or less, I'm going to make layer 1. Actually, I should be putting let me show you down here is your opacity. We could lower the opacity way down. I'll make it like 40%. And then I should be drawing on a new layer. Oops. I'm just going to say, okay. Then I could be drawing and seeing my lines. Now it looks like anyway, you get the idea of this. But the other thing I want to show you is delete that path. And I'm going to go back so I don't have the opacity off. If we change it into trace bitmap, I'm going to leave the settings the way they are for right now. I can do a single scan and it gives us black and white. If I did multicolor, then it's going to ask you how many scans you want. It's set on 8. And this is something you can play around with. 8 will come out pretty good, I believe, on this one. And if I just hit, let me see if I update the preview, what it's going to give me. Doesn't look like it's giving me anything much. I applied it. You can see it's working. Okay, it's done. Now it doesn't look like I have anything, does it, on there? But what I can do, there's actually a bitmap or a vector image on top of this. Whoops. No, don't shut down, program. For some reason, it's not working. Nothing's working on my computer tonight. Let me go back to can't even, okay. Let's see if I can get back to a single scan, but it must be still trying to change it. You know what? Let's just go look at some eye candy and then we're done tonight. I give up. I have an image here that I want to show you just for eye candy. It's a free image. Maybe down here. Now notice this is on Btmaps, the site I showed you. No, this is a Pro Plan one too. But look at this for a fantastic butterfly idea. Isn't something like that awesome? You'd have to simplify it, but you've got some big chains and some rings, and you could simplify it. You could pull this in and make different shapes in some of the shapes. And you could scale down the opacity of it, and your program's doing the same tonight. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Remember last week that the sound on mine kept going out? Well, after class, I went and turned on my TV, and mine all comes through a cable box. I'm in the apartment complex I'm in. We can only have, I've got Xfinity, which is Comcast with my internet service. And my TV sound was going off and on too. So it was my internet provider, and the sound on my computer and the TV were going off and on. It wasn't a storm or anything or weather. Um, so, but I think something like this would be absolutely awesome to simplify. And look at the color combinations. And again, like we talked about this afternoon, what do you notice about the colors? Aren't they all the same brightness? They'd be on the same ring on the color wheel. And that's why they work so well together, even though you've got what? Blue and yellow and purple and kind of this green teal color, but they all look so well. Now, just because of the colors themselves, and having this thicker section here of the gold, that really stands out on the outline. And really, like this would have to, could be a simpler outline, but you could, even for something down here, you've got two little picots, and then this on the right hand here could be at the bottom, could be like a small ring, or it could be a, what do I think, a Josephine ring. So anyway, that's it for tonight. And next week, hopefully, everything will go better. And I'm going to, I'm, um, I've been kind of taking notes so that when I go back and try it, I've got notes, but they're very messy. I'm going to try and get them all written down and typed into a nice step by step for some of these, and we'll try working on them again. So I hope you've learned even one thing tonight and enjoyed it, even if you hadn't. And you can see how just kind of playing around, though, you can get some good things. Like that round I made that worked fine when I was by myself. And I think not overthinking it. I really like it, and I am going to use that for one of the tattered rounds. So thanks for showing up, everybody, and we'll see you next